Oh, what is going on, Cardano community? Welcome back to another interview here on the official Dapp Central YouTube channel. As a part of this amazing interview, I just had Vito Melchiona, who's going to be the software engineer as well as co-founder of the VAULT3 web application, which is going to be a data gating service being built on the Cardano network. Now we're going to break down exactly what comes as a part of this entire application, but make sure to stay tuned to the very end for an exclusive sneak peek of what this particular platform has to offer. That said, you guys enjoyed today's video. What is going on, Ada Nation? Welcome to the official Dapp Central YouTube channel. My name is Fareed, and as a part of today's video, we're going to be breaking down a platform called VAULT3, which is going to be a data gating platform being built on Cardano. And as a part of today's video, I'm joined by Vito from the team. Welcome, Vito. Good morning. How are you doing?
Hey, Farid. Nice to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm doing fantastic and looking forward to talk about VAULT3 with you.
I'm just as excited as you are, and it's my pleasure to have you here on the channel. So what I want to do is break down what you guys are building here on Cardano, and I think we're just going to go ahead and just jump right on in. So do you mind maybe just highlighting what VAULT3 is, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, and what problem is it solving here for the Cardano community?
Yes, of course. So basically, VAULT3 is what we call the Web3 data gating service. However, to put it in a nutshell, is basically a file transfer or file sharing service, just like WeTransfer that most people know, but it uses Web3 token gating and capabilities to actually solve a problem of reaching a wide audience with exclusive content. And this is the base concept. As you can see here in our slides, is the problems that we came up with, or let's say identified, is an existing data gating protocol in Cardano. Of course, we're missing this in the ecosystem. And we believe we can use Cardano wallets, native tokens, as keys to access confidential data, right? So this will unlock a lot of new use cases, not just from the community and NFT project perspective, but also from the marketing, like how do you market a Web3 project in the future? There is a lot of, I would say, a lot of solutions out there in the Web2 realm for file sharing, but they offer limited control. So as mentioned, if you're using WeTransfer or Google Drive, you have the issue that you need in advance all the email addresses of the people that will receive these files. So basically, this is very limited because you cannot really always pick all these emails up. And in Web3, it's not a very popular solution. And if you share a link, it is totally public. So you have no control whatsoever who accesses this. And leveraging Web3 technologies is basically one of the best ways to keep control of this and make sure that just your true fans are accessing this data. And the last problem is interoperability. So basically, we found some few solutions out there in Web3, especially on the Ethereum ecosystem, but they are just confined to one blockchain. So we're also aiming to make this technology available for cross-chain and also multi-platform because we also plan to integrate Web2 capabilities there. So yes, here in the solutions, you can see we want to enhance Cardano communities. We want them to use their minting tokens, their minting NFTs, and Cardano wallets, of course, as well as blockchain encryption to unlock real fi utility. We believe this is the new era, or let's say the next big thing in the NFT realm is real life utility, and so all of this is going to be possible with VAULT3. You will be able to use your minted tokens to share real life value and enhance this real fi utility on any single Cardano native assets and even wallets. So we're introducing what we call dynamic access policies. This is a fancy word for conditions that allow you as a creator to, let's say, set up the compliance for your community to actually reach the data that you're sharing. So as an example, you can set up like a whitelist of wallets. You can also set a policy ID and a minimum of tokens that these wallets have to own in order to access the data. In the future, we also want to implement like stake pool addresses, so that you can also leverage this for ISPOs, and stake pool operators can also share information with their delegators quite easily using Vault3. And yeah, so we have, of course, a lot of more. I will show at the very end perhaps a small sneak peek of the UI, so that you can get a grasp all the possibilities that we're planning to implement. But yeah, this is basically what we're what we're bringing to the file sharing industry as well, because it's not properly solved at the moment. And finally, we want, of course, to go multi-chain. Our architecture is made in that way so that it's easy to integrate other wallets, and that we can leverage this across several communities as well, not just in Cardano, but also on the whole Web3 space. So we basically aim to do something similar as Book.io, because our technology is very versatile for that. And finally, Web2, the best features that we can offer is, for instance, make sure that the data is available for your Twitter followers, or your YouTube subscribers, or even the members of your Discord server. And these kind of things are going to indeed be a very, very points of leverage to sell and advertise in the future.
Vito, thank you for not only introducing the problem, but really and clearly identifying the solutions. I think, again, this is a huge use case. And we were just chatting before we hit record here as to how somebody like myself within the content creation space could really leverage something like this. And I think that's just a piece of the power of what comes with something like Vault3. So I'm excited for the solution that you guys are building. And obviously, as you mentioned, you guys are planning on going multi-chain. But I think starting from Cardano, where there's a huge community here, I think is a really awesome idea. So I've got a few other questions here that I want to just quickly run through. And as you mentioned, I think we're going to be getting a sneak peek here as to the first look and the first works here that you guys have already built. So this is not just a concept, but you guys actually already have some tangible product here that is showable as a demo, I believe.
Correct.
So that said, Vito, what are some of the key features, and I know you touched on a little bit there, right, that make this different from the traditional data sharing platforms? I know you talked about privacy and security, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. But like, if there were some core offerings that you had to highlight, what would those be for Vault3?
All right, that's an excellent question. So primarily is decentralization, because we are not, let's say, we're not being a custody authority for this data, and therefore we don't have, let's say, monetization models on top of that, such as just like WeTransfer does, or Google Drive, or all of these solutions. If you read carefully, these services are for free, usually because they do sell your data. And this is indeed one of our core values as well. We also want to bring decentralization to the space. So we are basically encrypting all the information that is uploaded through Vault3 and storing them in IPFS servers. So basically, it's decentralized and is available. I must mention here, we have let's say, a challenge to overcome, and this is the encryption keys to encrypt all this data, right? And this is also a problem that great solutions like Book.io are currently facing. And of course, our vision for the future is to make Vault3 a trustless service, which means you don't need to trust any entity with the encryption keys, but we want to delegate this to eventually a smart contract. So we are keeping a very close eye on what IOG is developing with a Nightmare and solving this. Otherwise, we have quite a lot of experience as a team. Me and Aaron Schmidt were the main devs of the project, and we have been focusing on chain confidentiality in the last 2 years. We are specialists, or let's say we focused on the Oasis network for this. But now myself, an SPO as well, so been in the Cardano space for 2 years. So I'm looking forward to bring all this know-how to the Cardano ecosystem as well. But this is definitely something that we need to also consider when saying it's decentralized. It is in a decentralized storage, all the data, it is encrypted, but as long as we keep managing the keys, it's not a trusted service. But this is in the future. This is, of course, in our roadmap, and we are looking forward to solve this as soon as we complete our first, let's say, MVP, and we deliver a working product for the community to use.
Thank you for that. And if you guys maybe land on a solution, like you mentioned, that book.io is facing, either share your solution with them or vice versa, right? If they're able to solve that problem, hopefully that they're able to share their solutions with you. I think that's, again, part of what is at the core of the Web3 community. And especially with Cardano, we've seen a lot of projects open sourcing their solutions and really trying to prevent other projects from having to rebuild the wheel from zero, right? There's no need for everybody
Exactly.
to go out there and build their own solution if somebody's already solved that problem. So just my thoughts there. And I also wanted to say thank you for contributing to the security of the Cardano network by being an SPO. I recently became an SPO as well, and it's been a huge contribution for me and a huge learning experience. So I'm sure that you share that same sentiment as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Farid, I totally forgot. So the other value that we offer, just to put it in a nutshell, is basically a very simple way, light way to data gate exclusive content so that you can offer real life value to your communities and to large groups of people, and making sure, 100% sure, using and leveraging blockchain technologies and assets such as NFTs, fungible tokens, wallets, to make sure that your holders, your true fans, your investors get to access this data. And this is the core value of our solution.
Thank you for that as well. I do definitely appreciate that. And that's what I was saying. I think for myself as a content creator, if there was some way for me to have an exclusive community that I could then share exclusive content with in a secure way, not only does that bring a sense of exclusivity for the viewers or the people that are able to access that content, but also gives me a way to make sure that I'm doing that with nobody having a workaround to take advantage of the system or take advantage of the process. So I could definitely see myself doing this. And then on top of that, the cherry on top is the fact that this is all being done in Web3 using the Cardano network. So I could imagine myself or any other content creator coming along and saying, hey, I want to create my own NFT collection and have that be used as a way to get access to exclusive content that's then hosted on Vault. So on that note, let's actually just jump into the next topic here, which is somewhat related to that process itself. Do you mind just kind of walking us through the user's journey, right, as to how an end user will actually get access to a platform like Vault and what that process actually looks like?
Yes, of course. So basically, there are like two main roles here. One is the creator and one is the receiver. So I can walk you through perhaps with a small example so that is less abstract. Let's say I'm a musician and I sold some NFTs on the record store, which is like this incredible solution made by Neum, Endmaker, and 680 together. This collaboration was great. And I have my true fans. They bought my NFTs, and now I just produced a new song. And before uploading it to YouTube and Spotify, for instance, I want to share with my true fans first through VAULT3. So what I have to do is I will go to the page. I will upload the MP3 version. I can even also give my fans a hint, like what was my inspiration on this song, and give it a personal touch to it. And this is the whole point of our solution as well, as bridging this gap between creators and their fans and communities. So they just have to upload the file. They need to add the access policies. In this case, would be a policy ID for the NFT, and say you have to have minimum one of those to access this drop, let's say. And then just add the title, description, and then you share. Of course, in this step, we want to implement our business model. The idea is to first offer this for free because we want the community to test out this technology and to get to learn what is possible with this. But in the later stage, we will implement a pay-as-you-go model similarly to what Endmaker offers. Like if you mint an NFT, you pay a small fee, and it's going to be very similar. And finally, we want to implement a whole subscription model for communities, enterprises, and of course, keeping a small free subscription for free use and very casual use for people to also enjoy VAULT3, just like they enjoy using WeTransfer or Google Drive. So this is the whole journey for the creator. Oh, and finally, they will get a link to share. And for the receivers, they will just have to get the link through any channel where they follow the artist or they interact with him or her. And they just need to go to the link, connect their wallets, and we will check everything if they're compliant. If yes, they will download the files and enjoy this exclusive experience. If not, they will get a message saying you're missing this condition to access the data.
Interesting concept there. And again, very easy to understand. Now, one question that I do have to ask. I understand that the data will be sitting behind some sort of policy gated system. Will there be a way for creators or for the people that are uploading, right, the to Vault3 to be able to see, number one, what was downloaded, and then number two, how often or by who it was downloaded, just to make sure that, again, that it's not being taken advantage of. Have you guys maybe thought about anything when it comes to that?
Yes, of course. We want to leverage, let's say, the marketing aspects of the solution. And for this, we need to give these metrics to the creators so that they can also know and monitor if this campaign was successful, how many people interact with it. And in that way, they can also, let's say, have a smaller retrospective on their marketing process and, let's say, correct for the future and change things if something failed, right? So we will definitely provide these metrics, of course, taking care of the sensitive data. And in this case, it will be just wallets. So they will be able to see which wallets actually interacted with the content and managed to download the files. However, how many downloads, they will depend on the, let's say, on the costs, because we have basically three metrics or let's say, three aspects of cost. One of them is storage, which is like the cheapest. Then we have access policies. It's also fairly cheap. But we have then bandwidth, which is the amount of encryption and unencryption that we have to compute in our backend. And this is actually our major cost. So to put it in, let's say, simple words, if you upload a video that is 2 gigabytes in size, then you will have to pay the bandwidth depending on how many people are you expecting to download this data. And this is why we want to introduce subscriptions in the future, because if you're expecting this to be downloaded by 200 people because you have 200 NFT holders, then you need to, we will give you the price for this kind of bandwidth. So at the very beginning, it's going to be like a prepaid model. After it's free, of course, if we complete the free phase. And you will have to make sure that you don't pay too like you don't run short on, let's say, this bandwidth, and that you are able to share this with all the community or audience that you're looking for. So this is how it's going to work.
Got it. Thank you for that as well. One thing that I want to jump into is, I guess, going to then be the opportunity here within the market. Do you mind maybe just elaborating a little bit as to what research you guys have done to see how, big of a market share there is for this and how you guys can kind of tap into that?
Absolutely. So basically, let's start on a macro perspective. We are addressing the file sharing market, which is, I think, in our study, in our pitch deck, we wrote is $1 billion, or was $1 billion in 2020 worth, and is expected to grow until almost 18 billion by 2030. So it's quite a lot of money. It's quite a lot of let's say, growth expectation. And as you see here, there is a CAGR index of 26%. So there are a lot of space for new players to come in and to innovate. And this is, let's say, as a macro perspective, what we're addressing. But if we narrow it down to, let's say, our first customers, which are on Web3, and basically the audience is early adopters, we identified that is not a, let's say, it's not something that is solved widely or properly in the whole market, and even in Web2, right? So we are very, very excited to bring this to the market. And of course, we have as well Carolina, also known as La Petite Ada, in the team, because she's herself as well a content creator, an influencer, and a singer. So she's an artist. So she's basically helping us to keep our solution as close to our end users as possible. Basically, what we want to achieve here is to prove our traction, not just with the Cardano community first, because it's where we have most of our connections as SPOs. And we also want to prove what influencers can do with this technology in order to, let's say, expand to the Web2 markets and bridge this so that Cardano also benefits from this mass adoption that we're looking to achieve through this. We believe if we bring a great solution for the market on an enterprise level, there will be a lot of eyes on the Web3 space and actually checking out these kind of solutions like, hey, let's explore this new way of marketing, or let's say how to create a giveaway, how to create a raffle with our customers, and making sure only the people that interact with this content or buy these NFTs or own this digital asset can access to this data.
Thank you for that. And just looking at the numbers there, right? Let me actually jump back out real quick. What I want to touch on was the difference between 2020 and 2030. So that's $17 billion, which is a huge opportunity. And as you said, I think this use case can apply to so many different projects. Again, not every project is going to need to build out this particular solution out for themselves. They could leverage somebody like you who specializes in this service in order to just get access to something like this. So again, I'm thinking about use cases for myself, but I know there's over 1,200 builders on Cardano and many more outside of Cardano that could benefit from this. And that's actually going to take me to the next question here. So you kind of briefly touched on it. You guys will be kicking off here on Cardano, but you guys also have made some mentions of going multi-chain. Do you mind talking about, why that is and why you've chosen the chains that you guys have chosen to branch out to?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, Cardano is where we have all our network. So it made total sense to start here, and especially because there are not proper solutions for it. So I think we bring a lot of value to the ecosystem. We want to also bring this infrastructure so that, as you mentioned, we lower the entry cost of a lot of future projects, that they can, let's say, use these token-gated or data-gated solutions to leverage their own solutions and offer their products to the community without all this extra cost. And the idea is to make this as easy to integrate as possible, easy to use as possible. And after we, of course, are thinking of going EVM, we have a lot of experience with EVM technology. We already have a lot of development in that area. So we have all the connectors with MetaMask. So for us, it will be fairly easy to integrate Ethereum and all EVM chains to VAULT3. And finally, we also have quite a lot of business cases on the Tesos chain. So that might be also one of the most interesting places to go after that. But we want to actually, we have big plans. Perhaps it's a little bit too early to talk about that, but we have very, very good ideas how to make this whole experience a little bit different than what we're used to with the Wallet Connect. We want to actually create a different approach how to interact with these DApps, and this, in our belief, will also help to mass adoption. So basically, in our opinion, multi-chain is a must, because this also brings a lot of attention and cross-pollination when you regard the whole market, because people looking for solutions will be like, okay, this is a very successful solution on Cardano, and why not trying it in Ethereum or on Polygon or whatever. So I think it's definitely a good strategy to go for. And I think the future is multi-chain, as we have also seen a lot of projects are considering this, to offer, like, because it's quite actually hard to move communities over chains because of tribalism is quite challenging. It's not that easy. You can have the best tech, you can have the best community, but still, I think it's easier if you bridge the technology to them. And this is why we carefully actually implemented our solution thinking of this. As you mentioned in the roadmap as well, we want to integrate IPFS as soon as possible, and we are even in talks with Iagon, because they are also in this cloud and file sharing realm. So they are focused on confidentiality, and they have all this compliance figured out already. So they kindly offer as well their technology to us. So we're definitely sitting down with them very soon to let's say establish points of collaborations, because the least we want to do is compete over, let's say, the same products and the same services. So we want to niche down in a let's say in a market where we all profit from it.
I completely agree, number one, with what you said about the tribalism and going multi-chain. I think it's definitely a lot easier to bring the product to the user themselves as opposed to you asking them to come from their network over to the network that the project is native to. So that makes sense. We've also seen many other projects, including Book.io. We've seen Meld. We've seen World Mobile. We've seen Paribus and so many others, even Genius X, also take this cross-chain approach. I think, again, there's not going to be a single blockchain to rule them all. Cardano does a lot of things very well, and the community is one of the biggest things that Cardano has to offer, but there are other benefits to other chains as well. So I think exploring that with Vault3 really does make sense, and hopeful to see what you guys are able to do when it comes to that. Now, jumping back into the roadmap here, one thing that I am excited to see is going to be the strategic partnerships. You just touched on Igon there, as you guys are kind of within the same realm. So again, not really fighting, but trying to see how can we collaborate together to make this happen. But then I'm also interested in seeing, who's going to be the first kind of blue chip collaboration that you guys have, and who will kind of take advantage of this first. Because again, I could definitely see this not only being adopted by content creators in the small fish, quote unquote, like myself, who's a single entity or single person. But I could also see this being adopted by an actual NFT project or a full DeFi project that might have an NFT collection or something like that, that doesn't necessarily have the time to come out and build their own data gating solution themselves. Therefore, they just find it easier to partner up with a platform like Vault3, right? So just something to keep in mind there, and something that I'll be kind of watching out for.
Absolutely.
Now, let's go ahead and just kind of land the plane here. I understand that you've got a little bit of things to do, and we are at about 27 or 30 or so minutes. That said, right, we've touched on what Vault3 is offering, the problem, the solution, the roadmap. Do you mind maybe touching on your catalyst proposal and just a little bit behind the actual team driving Vault3?
Of course, that will be a pleasure. So perhaps I can start with the team. So I'm Vito Melchiona, and I'm a software engineer. I'm also SPO, co-SPO of Grenada Pool, together with La Petite Data. And we have been operating this pool for 2 years now. And basically, we have two developers in the team, myself and Adam Schmidt. He's also a data scientist and a brilliant, I would say, Solidity developer and smart contract developer. So yes, we have a lot of experience, as mentioned, in on-chain confidentiality, and we built on the Oasis network two solutions. One of them was a confidential NFT protocol, and the other one was a confidential chat that uses on-chain encryption to send messages to wallets. So this is our background in the blockchain realm. Of course, we have more than 12 years of conjoined experience in development, full stack Web 2. And of course, last but not least, La Petite Data. She's going to be our marketing lead or key person to secure these partnerships and to help us with also the use cases. She's our first customer, and we're super happy to have her in the team as well.
All right. Thank you for that. Let's jump into Project Catalyst. How are things looking for you guys over there?
All right, so we have basically two proposals. Our main proposal is to develop our MVP, and the idea is to deliver here a working solution that is already useful for communities and individuals. Our ask is 140,000 euros. Of course, our costs are a little bit higher because the whole team is based in Switzerland. That's unfortunately the case, but we are very, very confident that we are going to deliver a very fast melting product with this amount of money. And the second proposal, to keep it short, is building on maker. So we have been in talks with Patrick Tobler, and we are definitely building a plugin to offer what VAULT3 is solving to the maker ecosystem, so that everyone, every creator, any NFT collection can easily go on NMaker Studio and with a couple of clicks enhance their real-fi utility, and I'll add all of this and offer all of this real-fi value to their communities using their NFTs. So this is our second proposal is more an integration, and we're asking for 75,000 ADA. So it's roughly 12,000 euros or 11,000 euros. Yeah.
Thank you for that quick breakdown. I'll be leaving the links to both of those proposals down in the description below for anybody who's interested in finding out more about what you guys are doing. That said, Vito, I think we're getting to the best part, at least for me, for this video. So what I want to do is I think get one of the first few looks here of what you guys have actually built. So let's go ahead and just take a look, and I'll let you kind of drive here. So the stage is all yours.
Fantastic. So this is a very, very simple proof of concept of what the product is going to look like very soon. We're aiming to deliver this working solution in the coming weeks, hopefully before August ends. And it's very, very similar to what most of you already know as WeTransfer is a similar user interface, so that is quite easy. And you can just add files. You can later delete them if you want. But this is going to look like. Then you have to add the access policy, and this is our core proposition. And you have here, for instance, a whitelist, and you can add here as many addresses as you want. Or you can go for a policy ID, and if you have here your let's say fungible token or non-fungible token policy ID, you can also set what's the minimum to access this data. And as you can see here, this is what's coming in the future. We're going to implement these two possibilities for the proof of concept. But in the future, we want to also include stake pools, certain conditions like first downloads. For instance, if you're making a giveaway for a concert ticket or an event ticket, then you can say this: the first two downloading the data get to access it and reach the ticket. So you can also build a lot of marketing campaigns on top of this concept. You can add deadlines so that you can also kind of rush your audience and make them feel the FOMO, so that they really rush and grab your files. In the future, we also want to include smart contract interactions in case that you are locking your staking or your locking tokens on a contract. This is also a possibility to reward these people or share with them valuable information about what they're participating in and updates and so on. And in the future as well, Web2 stuff, as I mentioned, Discord server members, Twitter followers, YouTube subscribers, etc. So this is what the solution is going to look like. It's not yet working so that I can show you the whole thing, but this is how you will see the whole experience. And once you click here on share, it's going to be sent and you will receive a link. Everything is going to be encrypted, stored on IPFS, and then you can move on and share this link with your audience.
Vito, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Again, looking at those, seeing the different parameters, thinking about the different use cases, I am definitely going to be one of the first adopters here, if I'm able to, right? As you guys are able to actually get this off of the ground. I can think of so many different use cases, not just for myself, but for other members who are artists, musicians, like you said, content creators in their own rights as to how they can use this to get a better and a much more closer connection with their audience. So again, I think there's a really, really big um, offering here, and I'm wishing you guys all the best. So on that note, Vito, I want to just ask you, is there anything else that you want to share here with the community that you just did not get the opportunity to? Or are there any just closing thoughts and key takeaways that you'd like for members watching this video to take away about Vault 3?
Of course. So basically, if you like what you see, if you want to support us, we really appreciate your kudos on the Catalyst proposals and also for your votes. Please follow us on Twitter. It's our main channel to distribute news about the project at the moment. And we also have a Telegram. Feel free to drop to our website as well. It's vault3.io. We have our white paper there as well. You can get to know more about the solution, the inners of the, let's say, implementation, if you're a technical person as well. So yeah, and we're always open if you need, if you have questions, if you would like to sign up to be one of the first content creators using this, after Farid, of course. He's the first one. So yeah, I would say that those are my thoughts, and yeah, stay tuned for cool updates, because we have a lot of things to share in the coming weeks.
I will definitely be staying tuned. And as you said, I hope I got dibs into that first spot. If you guys want more information surrounding Vault 3, check out the description down below. I'll be leaving the links to their Catalyst proposal as well as their official website. And you guys can go ahead and get in touch with them if you guys are looking to adopt this or become a potential partner for Vault 3. That said, as always, if it's your first time stopping by the channel and you guys appreciate content interviews like this surrounding builders in the Cardano ecosystem, I'd really appreciate you if you guys could tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by the channel and you guys want more content like this, consider subscribing. And if you guys have any questions for me or Vito surrounding Vault 3, then as always, make sure to go ahead and leave those down in the comment section below. That said, we'll both catch you guys in the next video.